Hey everybody, happy Thursday afternoon lunchtime tutorial stream. Greetings to everyone from Dallas, Texas, where it is freaking cold, y'all. Okay? It's cold. I'm cold. Basically, if I'm cold, that's my objective scale of it's cold. Actually, I did when I first moved to Texas. I made up a scale of cold for my dad because, of course, me being a native Wisconsinite and my dad still living in Wisconsin, of course, you know, I would say it's cold and he'd be like, it's not cold. I'm like, okay, this is the Allison scale of cold. So I'm about to bless you all with the Allison scale of cold, whether you want to know it or not. So anything above 40 degrees is tolerable. Above 40 degrees, not cold. Wear a sweater, wear a jacket. I'm not going to whine about it. Between 40 and 32 is cold. Between 32 and 0, and I'm talking Fahrenheit, of course, is frickin' cold. And below 0 is curl up and die cold. So we are currently, let's see, okay, where are we currently on the Allison temperature scale? Overnight, we were definitely in frickin' cold. Currently, we're still in frickin' cold territory on the Allison scale of temperature. It's 30 degrees here in Dallas. I'm sitting here in my bead store that doesn't have heat. There's a reason we don't have heat, which is because we usually don't need heat. Yes, I could have dragged the space heater out of the back. I'm just too freaking lazy. It's freaking cold and I'm freaking lazy, but my fingers are a little, I know, I was underneath a cat this morning and it was really nice, and then I had to come to work. It's unfortunate that there's not a cat cuddle exemption for coldness. Well, okay, so here's the thing about the no heat is we're a retail store. We have an entire ceiling full of halogen lights, which essentially work as heaters. So after those lights have been on for about 60 minutes, the temperature, no, I'm explaining, Amy. After the lights have been on for about 60 minutes, the temperature in here typically raises by 10 to 15 degrees, and then it's just going to keep getting warmer throughout the day. So that's how you grow beads. This particular space, the space that I'm in, Beading Dreams is in, everything is electric except the heat. The heat is gas, and the problem is that if I have gas hooked up to the Beading Dreams, I don't just pay for it when I use it. I have to pay every single month. And last time I checked, it was $80 a month. And we turned on the heat, the central heat in Beading Dreams, typically for 2 to 3 days every 2 to 3 years. And then invariably what would happen is someone would come in the morning, they would crank the heat up high, and then the lights would start warming things up. And then by the end of the day, my staff would be turning on the air conditioning in the middle of January. Sorry, that was a little enthusiastic. So as the person paying the bill for the gas, I made the executive decision that we did not need to pay $80 a month for 12 months of gas service to use it again for 2 to 3 days every 2 to 3 years, and then have to turn on the AC. So we've got plenty of space heaters. I'm not like freezing my employees and my customers to death. Like, no one's ever died of frostbite in the Beading Dreams, I promise. But we do not have central heat. And so, once again, if I had been forethinking enough to drag a space heater out of the back, my fingers wouldn't be as cold right now. But they're not in danger of falling off. They still work. See, my fingies still function. But yeah, it's just this weird quandary of living in Texas. It's why so many houses in Texas have fireplaces. It's because, a lot of times it's actually more economical to just chunk some wood in the fireplace and turn on the fire. And by turn on, I mean, build and light the fire, than to turn on the heat. Because it's so infrequent. Now, of course, lately it's been more frequent that we need things like heat in Texas because, climate change isn't a thing or anything, but but we're not currently at snowpocalypse level. We're not in curl up and die cold level yet here in Texas. We're only in freaking cold. It's 30 degrees. It's supposed to warm up into the 40s for like a hot minute today and then dump back down overnight into the 20s, and I think we've got that for a few more days. So you know, welcome to winter in Texas. It did snow the other day. Freaking snowflakes were falling on my head. That was not okay. That was last week. Ah, no, Amy, stop it. I'm being optimistic. This is me being optimistic. You stop being a killjoy. But Amy actually is not wrong. The worst weather in Texas usually comes in February. Typically, it comes about the time that I would be going to Tucson, because I've had many, back when I used to drive to Tucson, I've had many hairy road trips to and from Tucson that involved ice in one way or another, or snow. And there was the one year where it just absolutely, that was the year that the Super Bowl was here in Dallas. Can't remember what year that was, but I'm sure some football fan out there will know. Where it blizzarded in Dallas while I was in Tucson. So I drove back into this like winter crazy land. I was like, okay, did I take a left turn and wind up in Wisconsin? Like, where the actual hell am I? 2015. Okay, yeah, so that was definitely freaky weird. And of course last year was the snowpocalypse. And according to Amy and the Farmer's Almanac, we're supposed to have more snow in February. It would be really nice if they had the electricity grid, you know, winterized by then, but that's a whole political rant that I'm not going to get to, because guess what? I do actually have a project to teach you all tonight. Oh, though I do want to just make a couple of announcements for anybody who hasn't heard them. For anybody who has heard them, if this is repetition, I'm really sorry, but announcement number one, I am not going to Tucson. I really had anticipated that I would be able to, but with Omicron and I just, like, it seems like every day I have a fully vaccinated friend who has gotten COVID, and we are just such a small staff here. I mean, there's only 5 of us if you include my mother. You know, if one of us gets COVID, the store is going to be down for 2 weeks, and that right now is just not something that I can afford to happen. So I am not going to Tucson. All my travel plans have been canceled. I do still have lots of feelers out to get new merchandise, so don't despair. There will be new merchandise coming. It'll be more trickling in than avalanching in like it typically is from Tucson, but I promise there's lots of fun new merchandise on the horizon here on the Beading Dream stream. So you know, I'm not just going to be recycling the same tired merchandise for the next 6 months. No, there is new stuff that will be showing up, I promise. It'll just be a little bit of a different format than our typical Tucson. So that's number one. Number two is I will not be streaming tonight because I have a super secret beading mission that I have to go on this evening. So our Torch Thursday stream tonight is canceled. I'm going to bump that project to next week. So if you want a fun stream to watch tonight, go watch Corvus, Crafty Skull Corvus on Twitch. She's going to be streaming at 7 p.m. Central Time, which is basically when my stream would typically end. And can somebody on Twitch who's not talking, aka not me, would you mind posting a link to Corvus's channel in the chat? So seriously, go tonight, watch Corvus. She's hilarious. We love her. She's making crystal curtains, which I'm so sad I'm not going to be able to watch her stream on crystal curtains, because I really want to, because I feel like I want crystal curtains in my life. But I will not be streaming tonight, okay? So the Beading Dreams channel will be dark tonight, but go support Crafty Skull Corvus. She's an amazing human and hilarious and talented to boot. So I think that's all the announcements for the moment. I'll be back tomorrow night for Freeform Friday. So it's just tonight that I'm taking off. And like I said, it's a super secret mission, I promise. You'll be happy about it when you find out what it is. Oh, by the way, also Shaker and Spoon, we got our, oh goodness gracious, when did I get so old? We did get our Shaker and Spoon box, and so I will be unboxing that tomorrow night after the Freeform Friday stream. Also, I think what we're going to do for Freeform Friday is Heather and I are going to have a race. We're going to have a race to see who can make the most station chain in an hour. So that's going to be, it's going to be a fun, there's going to be Heather Cam tomorrow night on Freeform Friday, and it's going to be a fun stream. Okay, but what are we doing today, you might ask? What am I going to teach you this lunchtime stream? It's this one, Crystal Smile Necklace. I was wearing this necklace on stream the other, holy darkness, Batman. Okay, when did my stream go all like Gotham City and stuff? Like, thank you, Lori, you're the best. I swear, I've had so many problems with exposure on my camera lately. Okay, but this is not okay. So let's make this a little bit brighter. Okay, so again, Lori just posted Corvus's stream in the Twitch chat. If you can't see it, let me know. But yeah, so I'm not going to be streaming tonight, so everybody go watch Corvus and, you know, give her hell for me. So I was, while I'm making this, trying to make this lighter, I was wearing this necklace on stream the other night, and I had lots of requests for a tutorial on it, and I was actually shocked when I went to schedule it, because I could have sworn that I've done this tutorial before on stream, but no, there was no record of it ever having been performed on stream before. So this is a Crystal Smile Necklace. Conceptually, really, really simple, okay? And we're gonna take just a few beads, put them on a wire wrap them onto a chain. These are actually, in the truest sense of the word, these are crystals. These are actually raw diamond crystals on this necklace. I'm going to be using some little ruby beads on the project that I'm going to be doing on stream today. So let's talk tools and supplies for this afternoon's tutorial. You are going to need some chain, and I'm going to use this pretty chain. See, now it's all like, now it's all high desert. It's like, can I have a happy medium between high desert and like the dark night here? Okay, so I'm going to use this pretty station chain that is gold filled with little black oxidized sparkly bits on it. You're going to need some beads. This is, as Sophia would say, a great stash buster project, because you don't need many beads for it. So I have this little partial strand of rubies that's just been knocking around my work area. You don't even need very many. You need you can do this with anywhere from 1 inch to like 3 inches of beads. So I've got my little 3mm rubies here. So once again, if you've got just this little tail end of strand left over from another project, this is a really great way to use it up. You are going to need a clasp. So I've got a little spring ring and a soldered ring, and then you're going to need 26 or 28 gauge wire with which to put it together. Now, whether you need 26 or 28 is going to totally depend on 2 things. Number 1, your beads, what's going to fit through your beads is what you're going to need to use. Number 2, your chain. Okay, if you look at the chain that I have here, the links on this are very, very tiny. They are VV small. This will still fit 26 gauge wire at the end links. Wow. Well, that's an exciting thing that happened there. It'll still fit 26 gauge wire at the end links, but if you've got a really tiny, tiny, dainty chain, you may need to use 28 gauge wire. We're going to use the 26 or 28 gauge wire to both attach the beads and to attach the clasp. So once I untangle this Gordian knot that I have made, we're going to go ahead and get started. And the moral of this story is don't put your tiny little frickin' chains in a Ziploc baggie. That's just dumb. Wrap them on a card or a bobbin or something. You would think after a significant number of years in the industry, I would know this fact well, but you would apparently be incorrect. Actually, that's not completely true. I know this fact. I'm well aware of this fact. I just do not always practice good chain discipline because half the time I'm running around with my hair on fire. Yeah. Okay, so figure out how long you want your necklace. For a little, a little layering necklace like this, 16 inches is usually a good length. So in order to figure out how much chain we need to cut, there's just a teensy-weensy bit of mathematics, just a small, small amount of mathematics we need to do. We need to figure out how long our center section is going to be, and we need to figure out how long our clasp section is going to be. We're going to add a little bit for our wire wraps, take that total, subtract it from 16 inches, and that's going to give us the amount of chain that we need to cut. So I'm just going to make my life a little bit easier, and I'm going to say I'm going to do 1 inch of rubies. Okay, so I've got 1 inch of rubies. That's what I'm going to wrap onto my necklace. My clasp, if I put it on my ruler, is not very long. The clasp and the ring combine, I'm going to go ahead and guesstimate that at about 1/2 inch. So I've got 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to figure my wire wraps, because I'm going to have a wire wrap on each side of my beads and a wire wrap for each end of my clasp. I'm going to say that that's going to be another 1/2 inch. So what I have is 2 inches of stuff on my necklace that's not chain. So if I take my 16-inch total length that I want, subtract the length of all the stuff that's not chain, that gives me 14 inches. So that's what I need to cut of my chain in order to make a 16-inch necklace. Now I'm going to cut this in 2 pieces because I need 1 for either side of my little center section here. So 14 divided by 2 is, of course, 7. So I'm going to cut 2 7-inch pieces of chain. So you can use that fairly simple math to figure out, the length of chain for whatever length of necklace you want to make. So, 16 inches not your thing. You want to make an 18-inch necklace? Cool, do it. Just do the math. 20 inches, 24 inches, 72 inches, whatever. The math, trust the math. Did Carol May leave before I said trust the math?
Yes, she did.
Oh, disappointing. But yeah, trust the math. Just, whatever length you want it to be, just figure out how much of it is not going to be chain, subtract that from your total, and everything else is what you're going to, compensate for with your chain. So I've got 2 7-inch pieces of chain here. Also, this is not a paid plug, but this showed up on my Amazon Prime or Amazon Fresh when I was ordering groceries. So this is Sunshine Good Energy. I have to say I like the package design quite a lot. It's kind of retro and a little bit steampunky with the brassiness. This is gingerberry flavored. Apparently I'm supposed to have a bubbly harmony of flavor, function, and feeling. It's pretty good though. We shall see if it keeps me peppy through the rest of my day. Okay, so I've got my 2 7-inch pieces of chain, and I'm going to take my 26 gauge wire. I'm just going to cut myself about 1 foot of my 26 gauge wire. We're going to be working off of this piece, so it's not super important how long it is. Obviously you don't want to cut it too long, you're going to have a lot of waste, but about 10 to 12 inches is totally fine. I'm going to start with a basic wire wrap loop. Now the basic wire wrap loop, which I've not waxed poetic about the basic wire wrap loop in quite a long time, the basic wire wrap loop is one of the absolute most useful things you can possibly teach yourself or learn, in my opinion, as far as constructing wire jewelry. As far as what I'm wearing, I've got multiple basic wire wrap loops going on all of my jewelry. It's just, so my camera is right in front of my neck. I don't think I'm wearing any rubies. What am I wearing? No, sapphires and diamonds and diamonds and sapphires. So no, I have no rubies on me at all today, though I'm making a ruby necklace. So basic wire wrap loop starts with your round nose pliers, and I did not go over tools for today's tutorial. It's a really simple one. You just need your basic wire working tools. So that's going to be your round nose, your chain nose, and your wire cutters. So a basic wire wrap loop starts with your round nose pliers. And when I'm doing this type of necklace, I find that making the tiniest loops possible leads to the cleanest look and the best finish for your piece. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to take that 26 gauge wire that I cut just a minute ago. I'm going to grab with my round nose pliers about an inch or an inch and a half down from the end of my 26 gauge wire, and I'm going to grab right at the tip of my pliers. Now I'm going to take my non-plier holding hand. So I am a right-handed individual. That means my pliers are in my right hand, which is my dominant hand. My left hand is the free hand. My left hand is actually the one that's going to be doing the majority of manipulation of wire and such during this basic wire wrap loop. So I'm going to push that wire away from me over my pliers to make a 90-degree angle. Now I need to take my pliers and I'm going to loosen them up. So all I've done there is I've loosened my grip on my right hand. I've not moved anything else. Then I'm just going to pivot them ever so slightly, about an eighth of a turn, and grasp again right on that corner. Now I'm going to pull my wire back up over the top of my pliers and down till it hits the other wire. So now you can see what's happening here is I'm starting to form a loop around those pliers. I do, Amy, but it's going to cost you. I'll talk about that in just a second. Then we're going to loosen our pliers again, rotate them a half a turn so my pliers are out of the way of this corner here, and then you're going to take your wire and just push it underneath your pliers to complete your loop. So you never reverse directions on that after your initial away, and then you go back and then you continue the same direction, and what you'll wind up with is this. This is called, or I call this, your lady with a scarf, because it looks like a lady if she were in a convertible with a long scarf trailing out behind her. Probably not today in Dallas because it's really not convertible weather, but you know, maybe a little bit later in the spring.
Scarf would still be blowing though.
Right, it's true. Everything would be blowing. It's so dang windy. Then I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to feed it through the end link of my chain, she says. There we go. So take your wire, feed it through the end link on your chain, slide that chain all the way up, pop it into your loop like so, then hold across your loop, 2, 3. Your goal with your loops is you want them to be nice and tight to your core wire and also nice and stacked neatly on top of each other. Then I'm going to trim off my extra wire and use my chain nose pliers to just catch the end of that wire and press it down so that it's not sticking out. Now I'm going to go ahead and string my 1 inch of rubies onto this wire. While I'm stringing my 1 inch of rubies, I'm going to answer Amy's question. So her question was, where can you find a finer tip on your round nose pliers? And that question has kind of a twofold answer. Every once in a while you can find an inexpensive pair of round nose that has a very, very tiny tip. The problem there is a lot of times they're not actually round. Usually they're kind of ovoid. That's the unfortunate thing about the less expensive round nose pliers, is they're not always as round as the name would suggest. So if you really are doing a lot of wire working and quality is important to you, there are 2 brands that sell really nice fine tip round nose pliers, and those brands are Lindstrom and Swanstrom. You can find both of them online, and again, you're going to be paying for it. You're going to be looking at a $60 to $70 pair of pliers instead of a $10 to $15 pair of pliers. The good news about the higher quality brands is their pliers typically do come with some sort of warranty. So as long as you don't abuse them, if something bad happens to them, if they break or whatnot, a lot of times they will replace them for you for free or for a reduced charge. Now that being said, that's just my experience. I'm not promising any kind of guarantee on products that I don't manufacture, but yeah, Lindstrom and Swanstrom are the 2 brands that you want to look for if you want a really fine tipped round nose pliers. And yes, you will have them for as long as you treat them well. You will have them for a very, very, very long time. So the investment, if you're doing a lot of wire working, is 100% worth it in my opinion. Of course, that is something that everyone needs to aside for the correct spelling. Thank you so much. Okay, so now I have my 1 inch of rubies strung onto my wire. Now I'm going to do a second basic wire wrapped loop. So that means once again I'm going to take my round nose pliers, and this time I'm going to hold them so that they are touching the top of my bead, like so. And once again, we want to go right close to the tip of my pliers. Hey!
Hey!
So we're going to push our wire away, making our 90-degree angle. Then we're going to loosen, rotate, grab, pull back up over the top and down, loosen, rotate, grab, go underneath, and once again we have our lady with a scarf. Now we're going to take our other piece of chain, and again, find one of the end links of our chain, thread our wire through that link, and then slide that all the way up. That is a schmother, it's true.
Hello!
Amy caught you, trying to be sneaky. I promised them a Heather cam tomorrow, so.
No, you're not on.
Okay, well, there's Ziggy.
Well, blame me. I was the only reason change.
No, but there's no reason that should be.
Well, there's no other reason. We went cold.
I do blame cold.
Yes, I think that's a good plan. I like it when it isn't my fault. Getting an ad, so.
Okay. Hey everybody, I have absolutely no idea what just happened. None at all, but my phone just told me that I'm live again, so I'm assuming that you all can see me and hear me. So yeah, no clue. I blame the weather. That's pretty much what I'm gonna blame for everything for like the next 4 days, is the weather. But anyway, if you can, yes, okay, yay. So I'm assuming you can see me and hear me, and now we're gonna finish the project. I'm so sorry, y'all. You did not. It didn't all turn off though. Like, it's not like you killed the power and everything just went dead. The broadcast just, all of a sudden I got a notification. Your broadcast has been terminated. Like, okay.
It wasn't very
But
nice.
why? So anyway, okay, so when last we left our necklace, we were at this point. All right, we were at basic wire wrap loop number 2, and we had made the lady with a scarf, and now we're about to wrap it closed. I mean, it is entirely possible it is actually the cold, because so I'm gonna wrap it down until I meet my beads, because I mean, you'll know that like nothing in Texas is designed to withstand the cold. It all just goes completely bonkers and haywire when it gets below freezing. So I wouldn't be surprised if the cold is causing some kind of issues. Just as long as the freaking cable line doesn't come down from the pole again, I'll be happy.
Yes.
All right, now trim. Okay, I need to figure out this YouTube thing because I get all these weird comments from like bots with Cyrillic characters. Alright, press your end down so you don't have any pokey stabbies. And then this is the smile part. I like to take this little piece and I just like to curve it. And that just helps it to lay a little bit more nicely on your neck. If you like the more geometric aspect of it being more of kind of a bar, you can do that as well. Now we're going to use our 26 gauge wire to attach our clasp. This is a really useful thing to know how to do because it's really the next best thing to soldering your clasp on, which you really can't do on gold filled and you can't do on anything that has beads. So I'm going to start another basic wire wrap loop. If you guys want to pull out a heater, feel free. So I'm going to start again at the very end of my pliers, and I'm going to go away, rotate, back up over the top, rotate, underneath. That gives me my lady with a scarf. The cool thing about this is it doesn't have a front or a back, so it doesn't really matter what side of the clasp you put on what side of your necklace. Thread that wire through your chain, like so. Then hold across that loop and wrap around. And this time we're only going to wrap around 1.5 times, and then we're going to trim that off. The reason for that is we're about to make a second set of wraps, so we don't want this whole wrapped construction to be too long. Alright, so that's my first set of wraps, 1.5. Now we're going to take my round nose pliers. Again, with the very tip of my pliers, I'm going to go away. Rotate, back up over the top, rotate, underneath. That's going to be lady with the scarf number 2. I'm going to pick up part of my clasp. It can be either my clasp part or my ring part, doesn't really matter which. Thread my wire into that clasp attachment and then pop that all the way into that loop. Hold across your loop and then wrap down until you reach the end that's already there. Once you've reached the end that's already there, go ahead and trim that off, and ideally, if you did this properly, when you press this down, you should have a near seamless transition from one end to the other. And it's not perfect, but it's not bad. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So, and I'm still working off the same piece of 26 gauge wire, by the way, that I cut initially, which was about 10 inches long. Away, rotate, back up over the top, rotate, underneath. I mean, to be fair, there was a lot of talking and some technical difficulties in there, so I haven't done all that much wire wrapping with this one piece of 26 gauge. Catch the end of your chain. And you do need to make sure when you're catching the end of your chain that you're not catching the link that you cut, which is what I feel like is about to happen there. So you need to make sure that you're catching a whole and entire link of unbroken chain. Slide that up. Okay, and so this is a problem that happens a lot of times when people are first learning how to do this, is if you try and slide it up from this direction, it's not gonna go. You've got to have it on this side in order to actually bring it up and into the loop. Hold across your loop, and again wrap 1.5 times. Awesome. Yeah, this is such a fun one and so simple. and then last wire up, away, rotate, back up over the top, rotate underneath, grab your soldered ring. Exactly, good use for leftovers. And again, we want that soldered ring to go up and into the loop, like so. And then hold across your loop and wrap down. Wrap down until you reach the end that's already there. And then trim. And press your end down. And it is literally as simple as that. Technical difficulties aside, that is in its entirety our crystal. Oh dear. Hey Heather.
Huh.
Tell me what's wrong with that clasp.
Oh. Yeah. Do you want a better one?
No, I'm just going to finish the stream. I'm going to show everyone what's wrong with the clasp, and then I'll put a better one on later. So, unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention when I grabbed my clasp out of the drawer, and I grabbed one that has a factory defect. It has no trigger.
Whoops.
It doesn't even have like a place for a trigger. So I don't quite know how this happened. But yeah, this is an utterly non-functional spring ring clasp. It's just a ring. And then I'm sure there's a spring in there, but there's no way to operate it. So, oops, is all I have to say about that. And yes, the moral of the story, Lori, is always make sure the clasp works before you attach it to the necklace. So I will replace that spring ring with one that actually works after the stream is done. But that's our crystal smile for me, crystal smile necklace. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us on the Beading Dreams lunchtime tutorial stream today to make this crystal smile necklace. So for anybody out there who doesn't know me, hey, I'm Allison from Beading Dreams in Dallas, Texas. We are an actual brick and mortar retail bead store. That means we are here on Lover's Lane in Dallas, and we are ready and able to feed your need to bead Monday through Saturday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. If you're not local in Dallas, typically, you can find me on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream. 5 times a week with complimentary tutorials. I stream Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time, plus Thursdays at noon. That's the stream that you are watching now. And live merchandise sales every Wednesday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. However, I will be dark tonight. I am doing super secret beading missions.
Secret squirrel.
Yes. So what you should do tonight is you should go and you should watch Crafty Skull Corvus. You should watch her stream. I just posted that in the chat because she's awesome and fantastic and is going to be doing something really cool and fun tonight. So go watch Corvus tonight. She's streaming at 7 p.m. Central. Okay, so she's streaming basically when my stream would have ended tonight, and then I will be back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, tomorrow at 6 p.m. with Freeform Friday. Heather and I are going to have a race on stream to see who can make the most station chain in an hour. It's going to be a really fun time, so tune in tomorrow, twitch.tv/Beading Dream at 6 p.m. Central Time, but go ahead and go watch Corvus tonight. Everyone give her some hell for me since I'm not going to be able to watch her this evening since I will still be on my super secret beading mission. But thank you all so much for hanging out with the lunchtime tutorial. We really appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out for our crystal smile necklace. So everyone have a beautiful Thursday, and I will see y'all. Bye, Sophia. Everyone in cold places, including Dallas, don't freeze. Stay warm. Stay comfortable. And yeah, it's definitely time to sign off. So we'll see y'all back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Bye, y'all.
So she said.